This is T.Y. Jackson.
United States Women's Champion Chelsea Green.
How you doing, people?
And I love pro wrestling.
I love pro wrestling.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome to the Brunch Gimmick. I am Laurence Cartier. We are live. Another big week in wrestling, as yesterday was AEW Wrestle Dream.
Hi, I'm Maxine Dupree.
And I'm Otis.
Hi, I'm the sweetest pea, Christara.
Mars, the specialist.
And I love wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
And we
love wrestling.
Bottoms up, brains on. Welcome to Quizplex here on Love Wrestling, your pro wrestling trivia charity show. My name is Zach Ralph. I will be your host.
This is God's gift to wrestling, Michael Richard Blaze.
We are the Usos.
This is Rachel Ellering.
And we love wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
Hello, Love Wrestling. It is Thursday night. It is 8 p.m. And you all know what that means.
Well, you better know by now. It's episode 235 of this thing.
I guarantee you there's like an 85% chance that's not an accurate number.
Hi, this is Shaz McKenzie.
This is Big Bad Boris.
This is the Rhinestone Cowboy, Stephen Crow.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love wrestling.
If you're here, thanks for being here. It's for Exposure, Love Wrestling's Independent Weekend podcast, where we break down all the best happenings on the world of the independent wrestling side.
I'm Penta, I'm wrestling, and what?
I'm the alternative Anthony Green.
And I love pro wrestling.
And I love wrestling.
And I love wrestling.
I love wrestling. And you know what? Pentacero.
That's called scatting, kids. It is 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It is time for a excitingly fun, I hope, episode of Saturday Night Love. My name is Big Bad Boris.
I'm Big Ben Ortmans.
Hi, this is Smiley Kylie Ray.
I'm Sky.
And I love wrestling.
And I love wrestling.
And I love pro wrestling.
Of course.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is the Brunch Gimmick. I am Laurence Cartier. We are live. It is a beautiful, at least outside the weather right now in Montreal, nice sunny day. It is March 1st, 2026, the day after Elimination Chamber, where WrestleMania is finally starting to take form, as this was the last pay-per-view or PLE before WrestleMania, the granddaddy of them all. And we'll talk about the build to WrestleMania so far. We're obviously going to talk all about Elimination Chamber. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but let me just grab a sip here. We're going to talk about the box. And yeah, this Danhausen shirt, technically 3 wrestlers in one. It is the CM Punk Chicago shirt that Danhausen made a spoof of. This was even before they were friends. He would just joke around with CM Punk online. And this shirt was actually designed by Lee Moriarty, who is in ROH AEW. So shirt designed by Lee Moriarty, a Danhausen shirt of a CM Punk shirt. So yeah, we're going to get into all that. I'll be honest, I actually enjoyed the show yesterday. First of all, we got Sandy in the chat saying hey, and I was talking about the nice Danhausen shirt. We have Zach saying good morning, wishing us a national people. I actually quite enjoy one of my legitimately favorite snacks after work is a peanut butter sandwich with a glass of chocolate milk. One of my favorite snacks. So happy Peanut Butter Lovers Day to everyone. Also, do us a favor. I always forget to do this, but hit a like on the video. Helps with the algorithm. Helps get the show out a little more. So yeah, be sure to hit a like, subscribe. If you got social medias, retweet the link on Twitter, and we greatly appreciate that. As we get into the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, which all in all was a fun pay-per-view. Some people got a lot of mixed reviews, and I, especially recently, have been harsh, and WWE hasn't been as much for me lately, but I enjoyed the show pretty much from top to bottom. We'll get into it. The opening contest was the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which I'll be honest, either this, like looking at it, I would have rather this main evented than the men's Elimination Chamber match. Okay, what's that? God dang. Apologies. The crowd was weird all night, I feel, too. We'll get into that. The crowd was strange at parts. It could have been better. It wasn't the best Chicago crowd. But yeah, just looking at the totality of the card, I felt on a whole that either the women's chamber should have main evented, because it is getting tiresome of the women constantly opening up the show. Like, it's always either the women's rumble or like the women's elimination chamber match that opens, or like whatever there's a women, or like the women's war game match. Like, I think it's time that they either switch it up a bit and the men start first or something. Because all in all, I enjoyed the women's match first, and we're going to get into it right now. You had Kiana James and Tiffany Stratton leading off the match, which I like this pairing off the rip. It's one of those things where Kiana James has been on the sidelines for the last little while as a manager. but like she's now stepping into her own limelight. And man, like she's a hoss in her own right. Like she is just jacked. She's tall, like looks like a star. I'm excited for her to get in the ring more. I was happy she got one big moment in this match, which was pinning Alexa Bliss. And I think the opening with Tiffany was also smart because they both got to show off their natural athleticism, just doing backflips, just answering backflip for backflip. Where like if they like, I think she could put it together and be a big star. I think it's one of those things where she got to shine as a man, like got to get her main roster feet under her, get her feet wet as a manager in the main roster. But I think it's her time to go solo and be a star for Kiana James. And I think pairing her with Tiffany Stratton was smart off the rip. Then Asuka entered the match, and holy shit, did business pick up. Like, this wasn't Asuka, this was Kana. Kana started beating the piss out of Kiana James and Tiffany Stratton. Like, man, I was locked in from here on out. Like, also throughout the whole match, Tiffany Stratton in her ex-Tina, like Christina Aguilera dirty era gear and hair throughout looked great. And like she was just getting bumping and selling like crazy throughout this match. Like she was taking the nastiest bumps throughout this whole match. The one where she gets thrown into the pod where like it's one of those where I legitimately gasped because like there was very little margin for error there. She like got in between like the turnbuckle and the pod like perfectly. Like I thought something went wrong at first. Like that was a crazy spot. And then just to go and get your head bashed in later, right after that, by a very amped up Asuka, who again reminding people why she's one of the best wrestlers in the world, male or female. Like the second Asuka puts her foot on the gas a little bit, you get reminded of why she's the best and why she should everyone should be terrified of her because she whooped everyone's ass from the second she got in that cage or got out of the chamber. Then the fourth to enter was Alexa Bliss. I don't think anyone really thought Alexa Bliss was going to win this match because she's very much still tied into the Charlotte storyline going forward. But like she had that cool, like even just in the intro, she had that cool moment with Rhea Ripley, who are like forever intertwined, where they both like, credit to them, timed it perfectly of just banging on the wall and staring at each other and not blinking was a really cool moment. And like throughout this match, like she wasn't there very long, sadly. She did hit the Twisted Bliss off one of the chambers, which was cool. And like had a backwards and forwards like with Rhea Ripley, who entered after her, like the sort of like backwards and forth countering of the Twisted Bliss and their finishers. And fifth of the match was Rhea Ripley, who again quickly reminded people why she's in that match and why she's in the position she's in. Like immediately like hitting the razor's edge on Stratton onto Asuka. Like there's this point where Asuka actually cost Asuka would go on to cost Alexa Bliss her spot in the case by hitting the mist, and Kiana James getting, which like I felt was going to happen. I felt like we'll talk about the men's Chamber later, of course, because it was the main event. But I like that Kiana James got a big win here. I would have liked to see her get like another one too, but she did get her moment. And the person who was the MVP of this match, who they definitely made to look like $1 billion, was Raquel Rodriguez, who immediately cemented herself by just beating the piss out of Rhea Ripley, slamming her into the chamber wall. That running power slam on Kiana James was fucking sick. I loved it. Like, I know it's like from all the years of the Elimination Chamber, it's a little bit of diminishing results of going through the chamber walls. But man, she got all that momentum. And like some people, and I get it, like aesthetically, the older Elimination Chamber looked nicer. But people were complaining, like, I missed the old chamber. Here, the thing with the old chamber is people used to die in that chamber. Like, it would, after every competitor in that match was legitimately injured after that. Like, the change on the metal floor, like, it's better now that it's safer, because that was a death trap. And taking a bump like that power slam would have killed Kiana. But yeah, that running power slam was absolutely sick. Like, and getting the stacked pin after hitting a Tiana bomb with Asuka onto James and pinning both of them was crazy. Like, part of me is like, I wish it wasn't Asuka, because Asuka, like I said, is one of the best of all. But it's, again, cemented her immediately as we continue down this road to potentially, I think at some point this year, Raquel's going to win the heavyweight title. I think they're clearly setting her up. It's probably not going to be at Mania, but I don't think, probably by SummerSlam, I could see Raquel Rodriguez being champion, because they made sure to make her look like a star throughout this match. And like somebody who has switched up their game, taken criticism to heart, and actually found room to work there. All respect to Raquel Rodriguez, because her presentation now looks great. She looks cool as hell. And she's working like the powerhouse she is. Yeah, that was like the shocking double pin got me caught off guard. I'm like, that was cool. But I honestly, Rodriguez, if going in, was potentially my pick to win. I was surprised that Tiffany Stratton eliminated her, though, like not long after. I was a little disappointed. There was the point where Rhea Ripley hit the electric chair facebuster on Stratton, busting Stratton open, which is like for a completely sanitized and no blood WWE. 3 of the 4 matches, I believe, had somebody busted open from the nose or mouth. And you saw to me, like, it felt like Stratton was a little hesitant to do the electric chair drop. And like, she clearly came down face first. Like, she wasn't quite ready for it. And like, didn't protect herself going down. Like, it was just a freak accident, hit her face on the mat, instantly bloodied. Which again adds to the Elimination Chamber. Like, it was a happy accident. She looked cool as hell, busted open, and it adds to the violence and the danger of the Elimination Chamber. Eventually, Rhea Ripley would end up pinning Tiffany Stratton for the win, and she will be facing Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. I honestly, I cannot complain with this one. Like, I like this winner. I think you're getting, like, on paper, you're getting two powerhouses. I'm a little worried about the match as a whole. Like, I don't think this match is gonna go very long either way, because hopefully Jade Cargill has picked up a little more stuff and getting better. Because this match, just the visuals of it, of the two of the bigger powerhouses in the women's division, and Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill meeting up, like the visual itself, the match is sold right there. Like the face-to-face visual of both of them is money right there. Like, I'm hoping the in-ring catches up to it. I think this is a match that heavily dependent on Rhea Ripley. But I think it's the right choice. And like, you have to remember, and this is the good, bad, or indifferent, especially with the ticket sales being what they are. WWE clearly, no pun intended, pulled the ripcord like they do in the when it's WrestleMania involved. They're going with the big name stars on the marquee. So people who might be a little disappointed that somebody else didn't get the big name spot, you've got to remember, WrestleMania to a point is very much like an all-star game. It's like the all-star game. They're putting their best players on those cards for those matches. So it wasn't surprising to me that Rhea Ripley won. The second match, that we had was the Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch and AJ Lee, who is wrestling her first singles match in 10 years. Which, like, again, this match I enjoyed. It started off a little slow, but it picked up in the end. Like, I enjoyed the hijinks at the end. Like, immediately you see Jessica Carr refereeing the match, and they've done such a good job of selling or intertwining the referees into the story of Becky Lynch's conspiracy of getting screwed over constantly. And Jessica Carr being the corrupt referee. Who funny story. I think I mentioned this on the pod, but like, when we were in Toronto for one of the WWE pay-per-views, and Sami Zayn was doing his one-man show. Basically, the tickets are already assigned, so like there was no point. Like, it was we, Joel Pearl, Jeremy Lambert, and JPJ. We're all going to the show, and we decide, like, we're initially in a line, but like, it's pointless for us to like sort of side seats. So we're like, there's a barcade nearby. So we go to there, and as we're passing in line, we see standing in line is Jessica Carr and Charles Robinson and another referee. I forget which other referee, but it was always funny to me that like WWE could not let them in early. I think they eventually found them and did. But also funny, no one noticed them at first, because I don't think people expected Charles Robinson to be in line for Sami Zayn show. I think, but like, no one noticed him at first. When they left the show, everyone noticed Charles Robinson. More Charles Robinson than Jessica Carr was getting like hounded for photos. But it was funny seeing them in line. But yeah, Jessica Carr, especially the end of this match, that became the story. Like, again, it started off slow a little bit. I think AJ Lee looked great for somebody who hasn't wrestled a on-camera singles match in 10 years. Like, I think Becky Lynch looked great as well, like she always does. I think the like Lynch knocking like the sort of Damocles, or the Chekhov's gun. Sorry, it's more Chekhov's gun that was introduced of the turnbuckle throughout the match. I think they played that well and did toy with expectations throughout. Like, Becky going to use it and Jessica Carr, like at first Jessica Carr noticing that the turnbuckle was off the thing and missing stuff and going to go set it up, then like stopping Becky from using the exposed turnbuckle. Like her stopping Becky from using the exposed turnbuckle. And then eventually, like, although she wasn't in place to stop her, Becky Lynch eventually misses and throws herself into the exposed turnbuckle, allowing AJ Lee to lock in the submission. And getting the tap out for an AJ Lee becoming the new Intercontinental Champion. Like I think I like the false finish when like Lee, when Becky Lynch hit the manhandle slam. I for a second thought it might have been it. But the second she kicked out, you knew AJ Lee was winning. I think this is a fun match. I wonder if this is actually going to, because there's two of these of like referees, like non on camera wrestlers in feuds with wrestlers. Because right now this felt a lot like they're potentially setting up Becky Lynch versus Jessica Carr, and like Jessica Carr is very much playing into it on social media, like needling Becky. But yeah, like I don't know what they do with Becky Lynch next. I don't know if they're going to continue this till Mania, because we still got a little while before WrestleMania. So like this, they could have their final blow off match on a Raw coming up, if they wanted to like get a big rating or get more views. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they set up a match, the blow off match there, because it feels honestly like Becky Lynch is destined to fight Jessica Carr. And for a while now, we've heard the rumors that Jessica Carr has been at the Performance Center and I think Evolve as wrestling as a mass wrestler, if I'm not mistaken. But the Jessica Carr has been working as a wrestler and training as a wrestler too on the side. So it makes sense and wouldn't surprise me if this is where they're heading, which like it is one of those things where it seems like not much, but because expectations are going to be so low, it's one of those matches that if it is a WrestleMania match, can be a surprise banger, which I'm looking forward to. Like yeah, Misfit Wrestling, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great weekend, by the way. The parallels between Kurt Angle got himself into Hell in the Cell match and Drew McIntyre got in this mess. He's in so similar, it's not even funny. Yeah, I agree. We'll get into the men's Hell in the Cell in a minute. We're just about to get into the World Heavyweight title match, which, especially after AJ's leaving, like, I think this was one of the more predictable, if like not the most predictable match on the card. CM Punk versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight title. I felt the setup for this, like this whole show was the CM Punk show, was the most, yeah, here Pepsi Phil, this is for you show, because the very much from the very beginning, his entrance was great. I loved it. Them, like, I wasn't a basketball fan. I was alive. Like, I remember Michael Jordan, like the 90s era Jordan. Like, I hadn't gone to basketball yet, but I remember it. Like, my guys were Shaq and Kobe when I like got into basketball. But and Vince Carter, of course. But Punk being instead of cult of personality immediately hitting, goes black and the Chicago Bills public announcer Ray Clay starts playing Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project, which they said on commentary for people who didn't know was the intro music to the 90s era Bulls, to the dynasty Jordan Bulls, Jordan, Rodden, Pippen Bulls, one of the most legendary teams ever. So like that song hits so perfectly. Just and the having him walk halfway to the ring and stopping and the camera following him, that was a perfect setup. Like that was such a fun interest. And then him revealing the Larry Forever patch on the back of his jacket, like chef kiss, perfect. Like Larry Forever, absolutely. That was such a nice touch. And that, like, I would buy that ring coat. That was a cool looking coat. All in all, I felt this one of the weaker matches on the card. I still enjoyed it. But again, like, Lee gets busted open right before this in her mouth, and right afterwards, CM Punk gets busted open as well, starts bleeding from his mouth near the end of this match, as he took quite a few up kicks to the face by Finn Balor. Yeah, I think like at points it did seem like CM Punk was winded, and like every time he goes to the top rope, I legitimately get nervous something's gonna happen. Like nothing does, but just after the last few years he's had, like before, like the last few years he's had with injuries and stuff, I do get nervous when he jumps off the top rope. And like when he countered the sharpshooter, I thought he was going to blow an ACL or something. Like his leg was just in an awkward position, and having to like counter that into a sharpshooter, I was like, I was so nervous. But again, like it picked up near the end. I think Balor. My only thing is Balor is in that same position as like quite a few other like beloved, like people who were indie darling, like that crew of NXT guys who they respect and can have a banger at will, like Sami Zayn as well as one of those, but are constantly just going to be held out of the heavyweight title picture. It's frustrating at times because, like, again, after this match, Finn Balor can be heavyweight champion. Like, in a more fair world, would be heavyweight champion. Same thing with Sami Zayn. It's just they won't pull the trigger because they want to go with the bigger star power, and it was quite clear that it was going to be Punk to win because like that Punk versus Reigns is too much of a marquee matchup for them to pass up or to like put on Finn Balor, because that would have been like the more hardcore fans' favorite. Oh, that's a hot take. Getting an Armageddon Hell in a Cell match. Maybe again, the Hell in a Cell is something that they, especially under Triple H recently, one thing that I do like about his creative, much as I shit on his creative, and it's very fair to do so, I think them protecting the Hell in a Cell more, I like Hell in a Cell should be the thing that it really is the last point of no return of a rivalry, I feel. But yeah, like Finn Balor is in a weird spot right now of like, I wonder, are we finally going to get the break from the Judgment Day, especially that they gave him his new theme song, his old theme song back. I think it's time to break him away from the Judgment Day and just fully turn him face. Especially after the match, he shook hands with Punk and they showed each other a sign of respect. And also after the match, the very obvious thing happened, but it was still very sweet, of AJ Lee coming to the ring and celebrating with CM Punk and then posing as the match. And it was the nice point. It was a very nice point of this match. Like, I hope, like, at least from Finn Balor at Mania, we get the blow off, either like him versus Dom at Mania or something for the Judgment Day. Because I think the Judgment Day has more or less played its course. Or fuck it, turn into all women's stable. Like, have like Liv and Raquel and Rocks start off their own thing and just dish the dudes. But yeah, like there has to be something there. And yeah, all in all, I felt this like one of the weaker matches on the card, but it's still fun. I still enjoyed it. I think, again, the accidental blood added more intensity to this match as well. Then we got the reveal of the box of the crate. And the thing which, especially as he was tweeting on social media, became more and more evident. The betting favorite of what was in the box was indeed true. And Donovan Danhausen himself, very nice, very evil, debuting on WWE TV. Like a few years ago, this was unthinkable. I think not too subtly right now. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Danhausen. I think he's immensely talented. I think, and I remember it because it stuck with me because I was excited when AEW signed Danhausen. I was very excited for it. And I remember Tony Khan just like the difference between other wrestlers that he signed and Danhausen was very much, it felt like he did not get it. And that became obvious in his booking. And you could say that, although I don't entirely think that's what it was, but like people feel that because of his close relationship with CM Punk, that Tony Khan might have punished him a little bit for it. I just think he did not know what to do with Danhausen. He just never had the proper creative for him. He couldn't fairly figure out the character. Because like from the very jump, it felt like, here, damn, you can have him. Like it was very much like it felt off when he announced Danhausen. Like it felt very much like he was capitulating to what the fans wanted. And that was obvious because I think he's only wrestled like 9 matches on AEW. But still managed, and this is what clearly was probably the tipping selling point for Danhausen was like, A, lot of people in the back like him. Like he has at this point a lot of friends there. B, people that do know him know he's a hard worker. Like that dude is always putting in the work to improve and get better. And also he's just a generally nice person. So I don't think people necessarily know about it, but Danhausen like lived part-time here. Like his entrance, by the way, was all the Danhausen dancers was choreographed, and one of them was, in fact, his wife, Lulu Duchess of Derriere, who is in her own right an incredibly talented burlesque dancer. I think won the best burlesque dancer in the world, is constantly the number one burlesque dancer here in Montreal because she used to live from Montreal. She was born in Ganawage, which is the native reservation nearby. And so Danhausen lived here part-time, and there's a mutual friend of ours that's good friends with Danhausen, who's a tattoo artist. And like you won't hear a bad story around here about Danhausen, although he's not a fan of Montreal. The French, I think, gets to him. But yeah, like being able to debut with his wife, and the fact that his wife did all the choreography then was super cool. Like I think he did get a little bit of a pop coming out. The boos, and somebody else agreed with me who was in the crowd, because like I initially thought they booed because nothing else happened afterwards. I thought people were expecting a little more. I think it was half an hour. I think the boos were either people were expecting a little more, and some people just don't get the gimmick. Which hopefully he's gonna have time to grow. I felt like debuting like this on this big of a stage might have been a mistake. That was the only thing. Like I felt he could have just popped up in NXT. Like he is built for that NXT brand. But also the dude just straight up makes some money. Like even though he was off TV for like almost a full year now, I think maybe over a full year, off AEW television, he was still one of the top AEW merch sellers, and one of the top merch sellers on Pro Wrestling Tees. And he was just like working occasional indies and stuff. Like Danhausen has that thing, which especially companies are like, he's got an intense like cult like following around him. Like a lot of people just generally like the dude, and he's very funny. And I'm hoping WWE puts a little money behind the gimmick and gives him time to grow it on television and actually gets him in the ring. I wanted so bad in AEW to see him more in the ring. Hopefully he gets that more time to do that. And like it was mentioned earlier, down to the truth, I think that's inevitable. Like Danhausen and Mr. Iguana, obviously, but like I honestly think Danhausen plays better off. Like he's the ridiculous person around a straight man, around like a not traditionally comedic wrestler. I think that's where his gimmick plays off the best. And I think it's where you can have the most fun with the character. But yeah, I'm so excited for him. Like the majority of people who know Danhausen, who like this is a dude who came from ROH, and then ROH closed its doors, was able to get to AEW. From AEW now was able to go to WWE off this gimmick. Like he is the ultimate underdog. Like a very much a person 99 out of 100 times would have been on the indie, or failed in the sense that it wouldn't have been on television, would have been. But again, like working indies now, you can make very good money, and he was making very good money on the indies. But yeah, I feel there's a lot of good, cool stuff they can do with them throughout. Now, time for the main event, and I had a lot. Again, the main event. I like the women's match. On a whole, I love the women's Elimination Chamber more. I felt the men's was a little sloppy, especially near the end. There were just like mistakes which happen, which again, I don't like people who shit on wrestlers who make mistakes. Yes, this like one take crazy stunt show. Occasionally people slip and make mistakes. It happens. We move on. Like I don't like shit. Like I don't like shitting on people like that. But yeah, like and like mostly I didn't like the booking of how people were eliminated. Like I liked them starting out with Javon Evans and Cody Rhodes. Javon Evans, obviously such a breath of fresh air to the main roster. Like the energy he brings, like the only thing is like I wish they used him more in the match and let him do like something cooler than like just a frog splash off the top of the cage. Like they were, especially his entrance with setting up like, oh, is he really going to do something crazy when he's climbing up the outside like prime mankind, climbing up the outside of the chamber in his entrance. Like I would like to see a little more of him in this match. Like I would have liked to seen a cutter or something off the top of the chamber. Was what I was expecting, especially that you had the two dueling cutters. You're starting out with Cody Rhodes and him. I would like to see a spot where they both try to go for the cutter on each other and they like counter and stare. By the way, like I did not like. It was quite odd. Like it was quite clear how much them not having a member of the Vision would have screwed up the booking of this match, because a lot of this was dependent on the finish of the match, was entirely dependent on the Seth Rollins return. So they had to get somebody from the Vision. I would have. It just fucking sucks that Bronson Reed didn't get the moment in the chamber, and then went to fucking Logan Paul, and that just felt undeserved with his like god awful buckshot lariat. Like Logan Paul does a buckshot lariat, then somehow travels and then hits, like takes a step and then hits. Like it does never looks clean. Like I and this the whole thing didn't feel earned. That he was like they kept the same booking that they would for a bigger dude, for Bronson Reed throughout that match, and just didn't feel like it worked. I felt like Bronson Reed should have been here. This would have been more believable with Bronson Reed doing it, because Bronson Reed, obviously being the big man, would have, like, it made sense for Bronson Reed to eliminate 3 people. And they kept the exact same sort of like booking in the match, which I didn't love. And I don't love that, like, Logan Paul, of all people, looked like a unbeatable Haas, limiting 3 different wrestlers. I also don't like that they, like, obviously, again, like I said, this is sort of like the bad of the, at least it's not as interesting for me. The final 2 and the eventual winner of the match. I felt that Trick could have done more, and I was hoping Trick, like, I think Trick Williams would have been the most interesting winner of this match by far. It would have felt like WWE for once would have had their finger on the pulse, because I think he is a guy you could have built a WrestleMania around, despite not being already a massive star. I think you have the time between now and Mania to potentially build that match against Drew McIntyre, especially that you, like, the rumors of they want to turn him fully babyface instead of like a cool heel or a tweener that he is now, because that crowd reaction is too much. That's undeniable at this point. That dude looks like $1 billion, and I felt I would have liked to see Trick win. I get why Randy Orton's winning and what they're clearly setting up here as we'll get into it. Basically, to end the match after eliminating Trick, a distraction masked man comes to the ring and all of security tackles him, and then a second masked man comes in, hits the curb stomp on Logan Paul, and right after Cody pins Logan, the masked man takes off his mask and reveals it is indeed Seth Rollins, which, like, granted, is his thing, but man, was Paul Heyman doing too much. It was what do you mean is the most obvious person? Like, being that shocked when it is the most obvious person to want vengeance on the Vision. But yeah, like, I like that the fact that Seth Rollins used his school students as the distraction. I thought that was fun. And then after Logan Paul was eliminated, you had the face-off between Cody and Randy. And right before we get into it, Drew McIntyre, with the cage door still wide open for like the final 10 minutes of this match. Like, there's even a point where you look outside and just like the referees are circled, like 4 referees are circled talking to each other. Like, not one of you are going to think to close this chamber door, guys. But yeah, just as they're about to face off and go at it, Drew McIntyre runs through the open door, hits Cody with the title, jumps Cody for a bit, goes for a Claymore, doesn't hit it. Eventually, him and Randy get into it a little bit, and Randy hits the RKO, then feeds the RKO to Cody, who hits the Crossroads. And then right after he hits the Crossroads, Cody turns around and Randy pulls the trigger, hits the RKO on Cody for the 1, 2, 3. For at least temporarily, at least for this week, sets up Randy versus Drew McIntyre at Mania. But at the post show, it was announced that on Friday this Friday will be Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. Now, it honestly feels like they're setting up Cody winning the WWE Championship this week, and the main event and their match being Cody versus Randy, which again, way more story there. Like for me, the more exciting match than Drew being in it. But also for the second time, this card looks like they're teasing, and I think this is more likely to happen if you're like betting odds. And I think the WWE video game literally tells on them that they have Aldis as a playable character and an 85 overall in the WWE 2K26, which everyone was surprised. Like they're going through the ratings. Like, why is Aldis there as a playable character? And I think it's because it's going to be Nick Aldis, former NWA champion, versus Drew McIntyre at Mania. I think they're clearly setting that up. I think he loses his title on Friday and Cody wins, and it's going to be Cody. Either it's going to be a triple threat, or we're getting Cody versus Randy and Drew versus Nick Aldis at Mania, which I honestly don't hate. I would very much like to see Nick Aldis have one more match, run retirement match, official retirement match at Mania. That would be really cool. As if you didn't see his NWA run or his like run on the Indies and stuff before that, you're missing out. He is an incredibly talented wrestler. Like there was a reason why he was NWA champion for so long. Dude just rules. So I'm excited to potentially see a match in WWE with him. Like that could be a very, very fun match. And like a fun story to tell going forward. But yeah, that's it for Elimination Chamber. We've started to get some matches set up. We are starting to see the like strings and different things, like where everything is being pulled and set up to WrestleMania. As for AEW this week, we are heading up to their next pay-per-view, which will not be this Sunday, the Sunday afterwards, happening at the same time as the Oscars. So I'm literally going to be dual screening AEW and the Oscars because that is the kind of nerd I am. But yeah, we now officially have set up not only is the stipulation if Hangman Page loses, he can't challenge for the title, but it will also be a Texas death match at Revolution, I believe. I think it's Revolution, the name of the pay-per-view. Which that's going to be a fun as hell match. That's going to be a brutal fun as hell match. You've also got Bandito versus Andrade set up for that show. Like, there are quite a few fun matches already set up for that show. That is a very exciting show coming up in the next couple of weeks. Like, we're going to talk more about the build of that next week and the week after, because the show is a Sunday evening, so I might wait for do the preview the next week. I might have a guest next week too. I'm going to be working on that this week. I might have a guest the next couple weeks, so we will see. But that will do it for the show this week. I want to thank Misfits Wrestling for hopping in the chat. Sandy and Zach, as always, wishing us whatever national day it is. Today is National Peanut Butter Lovers Day. We'll be back next week, hopefully with a guest. I just got to confirm with him because we were talking about it a couple weeks ago. I've got to figure out his schedule. But yeah, again, also, if you can, hit a like on last week's episode. And if you haven't checked out my interview with Adam Kirkup, great interview. Go stream all his music and follow him on socials because he sets wrestling promos to folk music. And it is honestly amazing please show him some love and show our video. Like, if you haven't already, give a like on this video and give a like on that video, because I'm very proud of that interview. It was a very fun chat with Adam. And obviously we're talking about both of our favorite wrestlers, Mick Foley. Yeah, that's going to do it for this week. Thank you everyone for hanging out. And yeah, we will be back here next week talking some AEW and a little WWE as the road to WrestleMania gets clearer and clearer. Again, thank you everyone. We will see you here next week. Bye.